These stories blend history, folklore, and imagination. Viewer discretion is advised. On May 31st, 2014, two 12-year-old girls lured their friend into the woods and stabbed her 19 times. When police asked why, they said they did it for him, for Slender Man, a creature that shouldn't exist, because someone made him up on the internet just 5 years earlier. So how did a fictional monster become so real that children committed murder in his name? Slender Man didn't crawl out of ancient folklore or dusty legend books. He was born on June 10, 2009 on an internet forum called Something Awful. A user named Eric Knudsen, going by Victor Surge, posted 2 doctored black and white photographs. They showed groups of children with a tall, faceless figure lurking in the background. The images looked old, official, real. He included fictional captions, one of 2 recovered photographs from the Sterling City Library blaze, notable for being taken the day which 14 children vanished, and for what is referred to as the Slender Man. It was supposed to be a creative writing exercise, a fun internet project. Within hours, others added their own sightings, stories, and images. Within days, Slender Man had an entire mythology. Within months, people started claiming they'd seen him. And within 5 years, he'd inspired attempted murder. But here's the disturbing question. If Slender Man was fake, how did he become real? The mythology that developed around Slender Man was terrifyingly consistent. He's described as impossibly tall, between 8 and 15 feet, always wearing a black suit. His face is a blank, pale surface with no features. No eyes, nose, or mouth, just smooth, white nothingness. But the most disturbing detail, his arms. Witnesses describe them as too long, sometimes with additional appendages or tentacle-like extensions that writhe and reach. In every account, he appears in the background of photographs, always watching, always waiting. The early internet stories established his methods. Slender Man targets children. He appears in wooded areas, particularly near schools and playgrounds. Victims report severe paranoia days before disappearing. They become obsessed with drawing him, filming him, documenting his presence. Then they vanish. One early story described a girl named Kathy who started drawing the same tall figure repeatedly after a field trip. "My daughter won't stop drawing that man," her mother wrote in the fictional account. "She says he whispers to her at night. She says he promised to take her somewhere without fear." Kathy disappeared 3 days later. Searchers found her drawings scattered throughout the woods, getting progressively more disturbing. The final one showed Slender Man with his arms around a small figure. Written beneath it, "Finally, no more fear." These stories were fiction, creative writing, horror exercises, but they felt real. And then something impossible happened. As Slender Man spread across the internet, the mythology deepened. Users on forums, YouTube channels, and creepypasta sites built an entire world around him. They gave him rules. He appears primarily to children and young adults. His presence causes what's called slender sickness, paranoia, nightmares, nosebleeds, coughing fits, and memory loss. Victims become obsessed with finding him, documenting him, even serving him. Some stories introduced proxies, humans who'd been corrupted by Slender Man and now worked for him. They had no memory of their actions, their eyes replaced by empty sockets, doing his bidding without question. The creature's origin varied by account. Some claimed he was ancient, a folklore entity that predated the internet, appearing in German woodcuts as Der Grossmann, the tall man who took children. Others said he was a tulpa, a thought form made real through collective belief. The more people thought about him, talked about him, feared him, the more real he became. YouTube series like Marble Hornets presented Slender Man as documentary evidence, shot in found footage style. It showed a student filmmaker slowly losing his mind as Slender Man stalked him. The videos accumulated millions of views. The comment sections filled with people claiming they'd seen him too. "I saw him outside my window last night," one comment read. "He's been following me for 3 days," said another. "I found these symbols carved in the tree behind my house," someone posted with an image. The line between fiction and reality began to blur. By 2012, Slender Man had exploded beyond internet forums. News outlets reported sightings. People created elaborate documentaries. Some claimed ancient connections, that Slender Man appeared in medieval art, Native American legends, even Egyptian hieroglyphics. None of this was true, but the collective belief was powerful. Then came May 31st, 2014, Waukesha, Wisconsin. 12-year-old Anissa Wire and Morgan Geyser invited their friend Peyton Leutner to a sleepover. The next morning, during a game of hide-and-seek in the woods, they attacked her. 19 stab wounds. They left her to die and began walking toward Nicollet National Forest. When police found them hours later, walking along a highway, they asked why. The girls calmly explained they were trying to become Slender Man's proxies. They believed he lived in a mansion in the forest. They believed if they killed someone, he would accept them. They believed if they didn't do it, he would kill their families. "I thought it was odd," Morgan said in her police interrogation, discussing Slender Man as if he were real, that he didn't have a face. But that's what makes him so unique. Peyton survived. She crawled to a road where a cyclist found her. The knife had missed her heart by a millimeter. The case shocked the world. How could 2 children be so influenced by an internet story that they'd attempt murder? The defense argued the girls couldn't distinguish fantasy from reality, that they genuinely believed Slender Man was real and threatening them. The prosecution countered they'd planned this for months. They knew it was wrong. They simply chose to believe. But the story gets stranger. Following the Waukesha stabbing, authorities uncovered dozens of other Slender Man-related incidents. In Ohio, a mother found her 13-year-old daughter wearing a white mask and holding a kitchen knife, standing over her sleeping younger brother. When questioned, she said, "Slender Man told me to." In Florida, a 14-year-old girl set her family's house on fire while they slept. She told investigators that Slender Man would kill her family anyway, so she was saving them from suffering. Multiple teenagers reported suicide attempts, claiming Slender Man commanded them. Others described elaborate plans to hurt people, detailed in journals and online posts. Psychologists studying the phenomenon identified several factors. First, Slender Man represents primal fears, the predator in the woods, the faceless stranger, the thing that watches from shadows. His blank face is particularly disturbing because humans are hardwired to recognize faces. Seeing none creates cognitive dissonance and fear. Second, the crowdsourced nature of his mythology made him feel authentic. Unlike traditional creepypastas with one author, thousands of people contributed to Slender Man's story. Each edition created more evidence, more witnesses, more reality. Third, the age of the victims matters. Young adolescents are at a developmental stage where distinguishing fantasy from reality can be difficult, especially when that fantasy is reinforced by thousands of online voices saying, "I've seen him too." But perhaps most disturbing, some researchers argue that Slender Man has become a modern folklore entity. Not because he's real, but because belief in him is real. And belief, as history shows, can be incredibly dangerous. Here's what keeps people up at night. In 2018, a Reddit user claimed to have found the original Der Grossmann woodcuts that supposedly inspired Slender Man. They posted images of 16th century German artwork showing a tall, faceless figure leading children into forests. Historians quickly debunked them as modern forgeries. But the person who posted them swears they found them in an estate sale from a collection that predated the internet. They claim someone created Slender Man not from imagination, but from memory, from something they'd actually seen. In 2019, a forest ranger in Oregon reported finding strange symbols carved into trees, the same operator symbols associated with Slender Man. They'd never heard of the character. The carvings were in a remote area that hadn't been visited in years. And in 2021, a photographer in Germany was sorting through her late grandfather's possessions. She found a photo album from the 1940s. In the background of one photograph, standing at the edge of a children's birthday party, was a tall figure in black. The face was a blur, but the proportions were wrong. Too tall, arms too long. She posted it online. Analysis suggested the photo hadn't been doctored. So what are we left with? A creature born from fiction that somehow reached back into history. A collective delusion so powerful it warps perception, or perhaps proof that some nightmares are so fundamental, so primal, that humans keep recreating them across time. Slender Man teaches us something deeply unsettling about belief, reality, and the power of shared stories. A fictional character created for entertainment became real enough to inspire violence, real enough that people report genuine sightings, real enough that it's entered cultural consciousness as if it had always existed. The girls who stabbed their friend are now adults, serving decades in mental health facilities. The victim, Peyton Leutner, survived but carries the scars. And Slender Man, he persists. New stories emerge, new sightings are reported, new variations appear. Because here's the truth, it doesn't matter if Slender Man started as fiction. He exists now in the collective unconscious, in the dark corners of forests where imagination and fear blur together, in the space between what we know is fake and what feels terrifyingly real. So the next time you're walking through woods and see a tall figure between the trees, don't look too long, because whether Slender Man is real or not, the fear he creates certainly is. If you found this disturbing, you'll want to see what we cover next, the Wendigo, a creature from Native American legend that turns humans into cannibals through possession. It's been reported across North America for centuries, and unlike Slender Man, this one was never fiction. Like this video if you enjoyed, subscribe for more myths and legends, and drop a comment telling me, do you think Slender Man is real or just a powerful delusion? I'll see you in the next one, if you're brave enough.